Hello, this is Joy News Desk with me, Mamisi Nyamiche Thompson. Coming up, expectations soar as government gets ready to set its 24-hour economy policy in motion. We'll hear from stakeholders here on Joy News. Also in the bulletin, we'll tell you the story of a 10-year-old boy who studies in traffic while his mother hawks sachet water, all to become a soldier and change his life.
To give you energy, good health, and refreshment. Enjoy your favorite Green Line orange pineapple.
We've got updates on the originals of the National Science and Math Quiz, plus climate focus on our desk, plus some business updates as well. Do stay for details. Welcome back, and we start with the 24-hour economy. Expectations are high as government's flagship 24-hour economy is set to see light of day later today. This policy is government's effort to drive economic transformation, increase productivity, and create jobs for the teeming unemployed youth. What are the expectations of industry players? And joining me in this conversation is Charles Appiah, Head of Business Unit at GUTA, and also Seth Twuma-Kwabwa, Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Ghana Industry. Welcome, gentlemen, to our desk this morning.
Thank you.
Grateful to have you. I think I'll start with GUTA. Charles, if you're on with us, what do you understand by the 24-hour economy, and are we ready for it?
All right, good morning to you, and thank you once again. Yes, our appreciation when it comes to what the 24-hour economy basically means is that businesses getting active within the 24-hour clock to meet demands so far as production is concerned. We have the view that in any growing economy, in any austere period, if a country wants to catch up with the global economic growth and challenges, the only solution is to stay active throughout the whole period of production. So probably you can catch up and make some good gains so far as economic growth is concerned. Economic policies like the 24-hour falls within what we call the supply side economic model or policy. That basically focuses more on production, increasing productivity, even against aggregate demand. And in doing so, the positive aspect of it is that when production is high, price of items obviously will come down. When production is high, there's opportunity to export some to other countries, where we are taking advantage of the after secretariat that have been cited here. And for us as trading association, that most of our space is an important space, it's an opportunity for us also to explore what can we do to more or less redirect our investment into manufacturing or production within this country. So it's a welcome call. We know it's going to help our country in our quest to have its research and also to get economic growth. One other thing that we also look at is that countries that have adopted these policies and have run and have been very successful, they do so by creating jobs for the teeming youths. Of course, such policy also will come with some incentives, which of them will be tax cuts. And any time there's a tax cut to the business community, I would say it becomes part of savings, which becomes a recapitalization for the business, which of course reduces the cost of borrowing. When businesses are able to access funding that are much more competitive, we are sure that we are going to solve that problem of high cost of production in this country. We've also averted our minds to some of the challenges that are there, especially taking clue from 1D, 1F. You know, the challenges that we have as a country, as business community, is about corporate governance. We have a very weak corporate governance that makes it difficult for any good policies to survive. So it is important, as we are all calling for economic revamp, welcoming 24-hour economy launch, that the country or the government should be interested in building the corporate governance of businesses, i.e. looking at the structures of business, systems business have to survive with. Business have challenges in terms of proper bookkeeping. It will surprise you that a lot of businesses, as you ask them, what is your growth rate? They are unable to tell you. So when something is going wrong in the business, it is difficult for them to identify. They probably will only get to know when it's at the ebb of collapsing and survival becomes a challenge for them.
Well,
the 24 hours is a good thing, but there are some implementation challenges that we have to look at and address them to ensure a smooth run of such policy.
I'll come to that, but let me ask you, how are you enrolling in this policy? Because more or less you form part of the informal sector. And with this policy rolling out today, how are you engaging your members in this?
You see, for any such policies, there are a lot of value chain along the stretch. After production, you might need distribution channels, which of course, Guta and most of the trading community falls within that distribution channels. So we're looking at how efficient can we be in complementing production to ensure that after production, after farming, goods are able to be made available within the market without extra cost. We're also looking at what other opportunities are there for us. If you have other ways of importing items and we could produce such things in Ghana, can we divert those attention here? That, of course, we need government support to do some of these things. One of the challenges that we are trying to address is the cost of utility bills, which makes it much more scary for businesses to go into manufacturing. We have assurance from government that there will be some tariff cut for businesses that want to get to manufacturing. We only want to be hopeful and pray that such promises are implemented timelessly.
Right. I have with me Seth Twum Akwaba. He's the CEO of the Association of Ghana Industries. Seth, we're grateful for joining us this morning, and we know that the 24-hour policy is rolling out much later today. But let me find out from you, are you ready for the rollout?
Well, thank you very much. Sure, we are ready for the rollout because we have been eagerly waiting for something like this. Initially, it wasn't clear to us what the 24-hour economy was about. The thought was that it was ensuring that there's a production process or a system that runs on 24-hour basis. So it was more like productivity issue. And we were wondering how that would happen in the context challenges we have with market, with sometimes energy, with cost of capital, and so on and so forth. But after engaging the secretariat, the advice, and the document that has been developed henceforth, it's also becoming quite clear that there are specific interventions in the implementation of the economy that is going to help the manufacturing sector and the industrial sector as a whole. And therefore, we are ready for it because people are eager to find their own and take advantage of whatever that will be as a result of the implementation of this policy.
Seth, it was difficult getting those last words from you or hearing you properly, but if you could reposition yourself. My next question, though, is the critical question here is about power, consistency. You know, there have been issues or concerns raised about stable power to drive this 24-hour economy policy. as we know it. And I don't know whether you feel confident with government moving into this area that you have that confidence that power will be stable for you to be able to progress into the 24-hour economy.
So, yes, power is an issue, but power is not just about the supply, the regularity and consistency of it. It's also about the cost. And the combination of the two is very important for industries to operate efficiently. In terms of its availability, I think it is possible. I mean, just as late as last year, the US government used to talk about excess capacity. It meant that we actually have more than we needed, and therefore availability shouldn't have been an issue. But we also experience power interruption. So it means that it's not just the capacity you have, it's actually the operations of the whole power system that makes it available in the quality that you need. So it's been a challenge, but I believe that power is a business. Production of power to supply industry and other businesses and even the household is a business. And for every business venture, when there is market, the business will thrive. And therefore, if you put our acts together very well, I don't see why power cannot be available in a consistent manner for industry. So I think it is possible. Even though we are having challenges occasionally, it is still very possible to make it work once we have the right mechanism of operating it. But the second aspect of power is the cost of it. The cost is also important. If it is too expensive, even if it's available, you cannot buy it and operate 24-hour basis. So we need to be efficient in the operation, reduce the losses, reduce the challenges we have in the power system, so that when we are supplying power, it will be supplied at a very competitive price. If you have a situation where you're competing country like China, where a lot of our products are coming from, they are buying power at 4 cents per kilowatt hour, and you are buying power at 12 plus cents per kilowatt hour. Your cost is high, and therefore you become uncompetitive. So the cost aspect is equally important, as well as the regularity and then the availability of and consistency of the supply of the power.
Well, I assume you've had consultations with a team or the government rolling out this policy initiative. What were some of the incentives that they told you? I mean, if it comes to tax, also about just what you're talking about, power and all that. What are the incentives that government is offering to industries?
I think for me, the key thing is first of all understanding the challenges industries face and trying to develop solutions to make sure they survive. The incentives are important, but the incentives are not enough. It is the whole ecosystem, the business environment that must work well. Because if you give me incentive by way of even tax reduction, and the other factors are hitting my business so badly, I can't take advantage of the tax reduction. So for me, the starting point is making sure that the ecosystem works. The business environment is good. The cost of power, cost of capital, and all the other factors that make business operation efficient is working well. And I think in our engagement with them, as you said, we have highlighted these issues. And if you read the documents that have come out, they are acknowledging that these issues, these challenges are there, and effort is being made to resolve it. On the specifics, I think that there are various plans that government is talking about access to funding, which is a major challenge for most of the business, because a lot of our business are SME, and they have difficulty borrowing on medium to long-term basis and getting it at a competitive rate. So some financial intervention is important, and it's been mentioned that will be supported. The other aspect is also the issue of export. Export is key, because if you export to bring foreign exchange and all that, and one of the key targets of the 24 economy is to target the export sector. How do we produce in a way that we can export and generate resources? The other challenge, which has also been highlighted, and I think the 24 economy is placing a lot of emphasis on it, which for me is very good, is the value chain development. Because we are largely a growing economy. We are talking of a linkage between agriculture and industry. Agriculture producing the raw materials to feed industry. But the value chains have not been working very well. Because when you produce, the cost of production at the farm level is high, because we do peasant farming. We don't do large-scale farming to reduce the cost per unit. Logistics to transport to the industrial sector is a challenge, and so on and so forth. So the value chains are not working very well. So we have a situation where some of the industry, instead of relying on local raw material, they are even importing. And then a lot of imports of raw materials add to the cost of your final product. So, so for me, that's a major issue that is coming up, and I'm sure they're able to work on it very well. The value chain will connect very well, and then we can have a more efficient operation. I know the other tax incentives that has been mentioned in the document, and I believe that if they are well implemented, it will help a great deal.
Well, I'll come to Gutta shortly, but let me find out from you the issue about labor as well. It's a 24-hour policy that is coming up, safeguarding workers' rights as well as, incentives for them as well, ensuring that proper labor laws are adhered to. When this thing takes effect, how are you putting into, consideration these issues concerning workers, their safety as well and all that?
I think if you make it most well-organized industrial site, you would appreciate the safety concerns of the industry. And indeed, right from the gate or entrance of the factory to the factory floor and to any part of the factory, you would see that for the most well-organized industries, they don't play with work safety and other issues regarding workers. Every worker has a right and it must be respected. Most of the workers also have labor unions that organize, and they are part of the bigger union. So they also work to make sure that they negotiate properly so that their rights are respected. So I think as for the rights of workers, for well-organized companies and industries, we don't have a problem with that. Our SME level, some are very well organized, some also have challenges. So a lot of education may have to go in so that it strengthens their capacity to also manage their workers very well. The essence of the 24-hour economy is to operate on regular basis and run shift. But the shift running system has implications, because if you're operating in the night, security and other things could be slightly different, because people are transporting themselves to the workplace during a certain off-peak times, which requires some security. So we have to take all this into account, but with assurance that government is giving regarding security on the roads and the rest, that will be helpful. But we also know that work productivity requires some level of transportation. And if you have an efficient transport system, maybe buses and the rest that conveys them to the workplaces, then you see that you reduce the risk and the safety arrangement that is with it. So companies are aware of it, they are very mindful of it, and I'm very sure they will adhere to it. For us, we continue to give training and capacity development in all this. You require knowledge to be able to operate efficiently in a 24-hour economy system.
Thank you. Let me come back to Gutta. Mr. Appiah, if you're still on for me, want to know from you as well, how are you protecting your members as well? I mean, in this era, security, transportation, whatnot, what are your considerations?
Right. So basically, this is going to be a new environment for us, because trading obviously ends around 5 p.m., 6 p.m. There's a need for us to evaluate our environment and appreciate the security and risks around. If the need be for us to engage government, provide security, which could be either private security to ensure our environment is active, for people to patronize their goods anytime they want, we're going to explore that. In terms of human capital protection, of course, labor law allows us to protect our employees. We will not take their life for granted. If there needs be for us also to provide transport services at very advantageous places to bring them to the market, we're going to do that. The other thing that I wanted to add, you see, we always take clue from past events and just oppose into future policies and see how best can avert any possible challenges within it. One of the things that we have found when it comes to the implementation of the 1D1F was sustainable source of funding. We realized that business were relying on already challenged funding from the commercial banks. When these funds are not readily available, it makes it difficult for them to employ capital to achieve the intended strategy they want to employ. So we want to call on government to create a very dedicated source of funding for the implementation of 24-hour economy policy. We also want to look at very, very affordable in terms of interest rates for funding, so that it won't be the business as usual rate of 10%. No, we're looking at a rate of 5%, which of course will make it much more attractive for most of us that are importing to move into production to safeguard the integrity of the policy.
Thank you very much, Charles Appiah. He's head of business at GUTA, and they've been commenting on the 24-hour policy, which is to roll out later this morning. Well, let's do the National Science and Math quiz now, and we have more coming up in that. Imagine... Imagine getting a second shot at glory and still watching it slip away. That was the heartbreaking reality for Hafasini Senior High School in the Western Regional Qualifiers. After falling short in the first contest, they were handed a rare lifeline due to the absence of two schools. But Shamar Senior High School had other plans, dashing their hopes with a commanding win. Adobe Asari reports.
Their first contest, Hafasini was given another shot due to the absence of two schools in the next fixture. But luck wasn't on their side. Shamar SHS outperformed them and sealed the win.
From the beginning to the end, Charlie, we're on top. You know that thing.
We know that there is no school. We can beat all of them. So I'm grateful for what my people have done. We are very, very grateful.
Secondary college students danced their way out of the quiz center, confident that this could be their year to claim the regional championship crown.
For Sekeni College, there are only two schools in Ghana, Sekeni College and the rest. So we are really, really prepared.
Meanwhile, St. Mary's Boys Senior High School continued their impressive run, securing a third consecutive appearance at the national championship. And they didn't just win, they sent a message to their rivals.
St. Mary's Boys Senior High School is coming Friday. Coming home. It's coming home. Come on.
A message for St. John's. Even though you are the current regional title holders, this year we are coming for it.
Ghana Secondary Technical School. Yeah, we are coming for you. We are coming for you. Yeah.
Okay, so these are boys from St. Mary's Senior High School, sounding warnings to all of you. Mary's Boys. Yes, please. Yes, please. Hey, sorry. Yeah, so St. Mary's Boys Senior High School, they are coming for you and they said I should tell you. So prepare for them. For joining us, my name is Adobe Asare.
My name is Fletcher Oreku Interfu.
Well, the regionals continue today across the country, categorized into southern and northern sectors. We start from the western region with Adobe Asare and also Collins Frimpong from the Bono region, but we'll get them on the line shortly. They are on with me now, I understand. So, Adobe, what's happening there? What can you tell us about the mood? I'll come to you, Collins.
Mami, today happens to be the only day for schools in the Western North to contend with each other. Now, today is the only day because there are just 4 schools. The Western region finished with theirs yesterday. Now, so whichever school is going to win today will face 6 other winners from previous days to battle for the title of the regional championship. Now, as we are speaking, the only test for today is ongoing right behind me, with things looking very promising for Dwabusu Senior High School. However, it's early days yet, so we'll see how things will go for them.
But so far, how have the students been responding? I mean, those who do not make it, how do they respond to their loss?
Well, of course, they would be sad, but the good thing about this whole thing is even though some people did not make it to battle for the regional championship, they've made it for the national championship because they secured 40 or more points in the contest. So instead of maybe 7 making it for the regional national championship, we have around 10 schools making it for national championship, but not all of them will battle for the regional championship. So they do get sad, but the only hope some of them have is how well they'll perform in the national championship.
All right, Adobia, thank you. Adobia is in the Western region monitoring the competition for us. Let's head to the Bono region where Collins Frimpong is reporting from. Collins, what's happening in Bono? Do I have Collins on the line? Well, we are unable to, hear Collins over there, but we'll bring you the very latest on that competition. Now, he wants to be a soldier and he's not letting the streets slow him down. While his mother hawks sachet water in East Legon traffic at night, 10-year-old Samuel turns his ice chest into a desk and studies under car lights. He wants to become a successful person one day so he can wipe the sweat off his mother's face. MF Adeti has more.
On this busy streets of East Legon, dreams do not wait for perfect conditions. They fight to survive.
Thank you. 4 + 1 is 5. And I have
on this busy street, 10-year-old Samuel is chasing his dream to serve his country as a soldier. His study table, the mother's ice chest, and the study room, this pavement. His study lamp, the bright lights from passing vehicles.
My name is Samuel Opong.
Your name is Samuel Opong. And how old are you?
10 years.
You're 10 years. Okay. What class are you?
Class 4.
Class 4. Okay. So when you close from school, you come here to do what? What do you do here?
To do my homework.
Before the city wakes, Samuel's mother, Abigail, is already cleaning offices at the University of Professional Studies. But this is just the start of her day.
Me pon na mama na aba ha se ono so pon na mama na aba na enyina ya wo ha se titam e bedu fe no wada nti me ma ne di kan ye homework na ansa na ye dru fe nti oni odware wie ya no wada me kokre na no 5:30.
Okay.
Na maba ha se 1.
Okay.
Ti me pon 1 na no so apon 23 no ba na me jai ade ne to na ma kire no homework ni nti owie a na makoto aso
By midday through to evening, the uniform changes. Now, she's a hawker navigating impatient drivers and scorching heat, all for one reason: Samuel.
First, I'm a ton category come by. Mamma wake up fine and I'm a medjai. And no ton and be ton and drinks, but me afraid you are home. So na me pay scanner, me dey afa drinks ni bi. Egum na my head, me ankasa me drinks any means.
Na be a day, oto and dia wunya ska be say, wo you be afima for so be anyina.
Okay, pachebu on ma me ye free bu 50 cedis, bu 40 cedis pachai.
For Samuel, education is everything. After school, he joins his mother on the street. But his books are never far from his hands. That gives him joy. His dream? Becoming a military officer.
What do you want to become?
Soldier.
What?
Soldier.
A soldier?
Yeah, Tarena Kraman.
What a soldier, Tarena? That should be obey a soldier, no? Then no size when I'm motor too.
Okay, yeah. Last year, December, near market near home.
And then the size when I'm motor.
A mother's sacrifice, a son's determination. Abigail dreams of owning a beauty shop one day, but right now, every step she takes is to help Samuel march towards his future.
Me de buta woman is me se menya me shop no na me bie na metna fa ko na ma hwe ma ye mejuma sene ensa na adwuma ne de emfiri ensa no sene meye ne kakra.
On these streets, hope is not a luxury, it's survival. Just like Samuel and Abigail, many hawkers and their children dream beyond the traffic and beyond the struggles. And with every page Samuel turns, he moves closer to making his dream a reality.
Now, as erratic weather and shrinking rainfall hits farmers hard, scientists are pushing for intercropping as a lifeline. The practice, mixing cereal crops with nitrogen-fixing plants like pigeon pea, boosts soil health, improves yields, and shields farms from climate shock. There's more in the following report for Climate Focus.
In the last farming season, Ghana witnessed yet another unprecedented long dry spell, destroying nearly 1 million acres of land. Thousands of farmers in 8 regions of the country lost their source of livelihood as they watched their hard labor bear no fruit. Every year we get beautiful harvests, but this year hasn't been good. It rains heavily during June, July, but not this year. The plants have failed to grow. This year seems no different. The rains came in late and some farmers are already counting their losses. Farmers in Ijura, one of Ghana's food baskets, are reeling under the impact of climate change.
And sana obe start a funo kura ubeduano. I say normal, bo we decide. Now bo we decide. Not trata bo council so. I don't know one board.
It's expensive preparing the land. In the end, if you don't get anything, it hurts.
In fact, I feel so soon send is here. A D can't tell my Timmy Quaye, no. A Saturday, I come by 3 weeks. I bet talk a crabby. Dear man, no buy an share.
But they may soon find relief. At the Crops Research Institute's outstation in the locality, farmers growing on large, vast tracts of lands have gathered to find solutions to their troubles. Scientists from the Research Institute are exposing them to a climate-smart farming practice of intercropping cereals and legumes. On a parcel of land, maize, a major staple grown by the farmers here, have been cultivated together with a leguminous shrub, pigeon pea. This sustainable farming practice enhances resilience to climate variability, improves resource use efficiency, and reduces greenhouse gas emissions. Dr. Eric Owusu-Dankwa is an agronomist.
So this is just 3 months old. Give it a year, it becomes like almost a tree, and it gives shade. Shading is very important when there is no rains, to conserve moisture and to be able to help the crops which are growing with it. So these are some of the adaptation strategies. Also, because it's a fast growing tree, one of the problems or the gases which is causing climate change is carbon. This is able to tap carbon from the atmosphere into its tissues. So it's able to lock it and it's able to reduce it, and that is good for climate change mitigation.
Edi kodua ye me de na fa amomu bebrede by aburo mi dua ye no eno so match mu saa nsuo no gina ya aburo no ye se ewa nsuo san to ye na san ye kama.
I grew my maize with the pigeon pea. They grew beautifully. If it had rained heavily, I would have made a bountiful harvest.
Well, though government plans in the long term to complete phase 2 of the Blekusu Sea Defense Project in the Volta region, some 1,200 people are expected to receive relief support from the Volta Regional Coordinating Council after receiving a cash donation of 100,000 Ghana cedis from the National Lottery Authority. Volta Regional Minister James Gunu is hopeful that some interim interventions will be rolled out to support displaced persons. Director General of the NLA, Mohammed Abdul Salam, shares in some hope.
2015-2016, His Excellency the President of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama, awarded a contract that is the phase 1 of the Blekusu Sea Defense Project. That was done, and we're supposed to have started the phase 2. Unfortunately, we lost power, and since that time, the sea has been worrying the communities, especially Agaveji, Asalakopo, and Amuchino. Now, as we speak, over 1,200 people are displaced. We had to look for tents for them to actually find shelter. The economic activities have come to a halt because they depend on the sea for livelihood. They need shelter, they need food. Even though recently His Excellency the President promised and has fulfilled, in fact, on the 6th of March this year, the President visited the area and saw the things for himself and made a pledge that government will make budgetary allocation for the construction of the phase 2 of the Sea Defense Project. And recently, government has awarded the contract to Amadi to construct the Sea Defense Project, which is going to take about 4 years to do. And it's expanding across the communities, about 8 kilometers. Now, that is the permanent solution that we're all looking for to bring this devastation to a permanent end. However, as indicated earlier,
And happening now, Guzi Tano, the head of the 24-hour economy policy, is being rolled out right now. We go right there and take the updates.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow citizens, it is a great honor and privilege to address you today on behalf of the many people who contributed to shaping the program that the President will launch in a few minutes. My remarks today will cover 3 key points: an overview of the program's format, a look ahead at our implementation plans and our facilitation of that implementation, and words of gratitude to those who have helped bring us to this point. Ladies and gentlemen, several 24-hour-plus programs and documents have been in circulation for a while, in print and online. Let me briefly explain belatedly the format we used in developing the program. The program is available in a full version, an executive summary, and 8 sub-program books, each of which is self-contained but part of the whole. For example, if your primary interest is infrastructure, you can read just the Connect 24 sub-program. This will provide you with our complete infrastructure program and sufficient material to contextualize it as part of a broader program. We will soon produce abridged versions, popular summaries, and animations to help communicate program ideas and aspirations more widely. We hope you enjoy reading it and will share your reflections with us. We are also in touch with the Bureau of Ghana Languages so that we can disseminate the content of this program as simply, as effectively to all our people everywhere, every hour. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in implementation mode. We have divided the program into around 50 separate commercial, institutional, and social projects. We are writing concept notes for the first 20 of these projects. These concept notes have so far been our primary tools for engaging with institutional stakeholders, including local and foreign entrepreneurs, financiers, donors, contractors, CSOs, MDAs, MMDAs, community leaders, youth leaders, and others. They will be available on our website for interested persons to engage. We are pursuing several other targets in parallel. Firstly, on an ongoing basis, we have begun the work of aligning our project with our current and planned government initiatives to minimize overlaps and increase synergy. For example, we have worked closely with the Minister of Agribusiness, Trade and Industry, Madam, to ensure that our respective textiles and garments programs complement rather than compete with each other. This effort culminated in an industry roundtable on June 9th, where stakeholders discussed the direction of textiles and garments policy and identified locations for future textiles and garment parks. The parks will not only be in Accra or in Tema, they'll be distributed across the country so that we can industrialize every aspect of the country where it's required and deemed bankable. Similarly, we're in the process of structuring and negotiating the concession regimes for the Volta Lake Economic Corridor with Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, VRA, and the Ministry for Energy and the Green Transition. Secondly, we have presented our 24-hour plus incentives package along with its impact assessment report to the Ministry of Finance for final review and adoption. Our proposals to the Finance Minister aim to simplify incentives and eliminate unnecessary bureaucratic discretion, thereby discouraging arbitrariness and facilitating the automation of processes. Thirdly, we are conducting feasibility studies on commercial projects, aiming to have priority projects investment ready by year's end. Indeed, we have learned that some priority projects already have bankable feasibility studies that only need updating. Fourthly, and very importantly, with the guidance from the Bank of Ghana, in collaboration with Development Bank of Ghana, Venture Capital Trust Fund, and Ghana Exim Bank, we must finalize, are in the process of finalizing our SME on-lending platform and our value chain lending scheme, so that funds can flow to the 24-hour economic projects and the qualified entrepreneurs who run these projects. Fifthly, ladies and gentlemen, we are activating the mobilization component of the program. Aspire 24 and Goal 24 may appear 7th and 8th on our list of sub-programs, but they are not afterthoughts. Everything is integrated. Aspire 24, mindset change, digital fluency, Goal 24 will ignite a spirit of self-organization and civic responsibility among Ghanaians at the community level where we live, work, school, worship, and play. Communities must be empowered to address local challenges, and ultimately we need to build a truly participatory democracy that functions effectively at the national, district, and sub-district levels. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, we will soon become a statutory authority. The appropriate legislation is being finalized for onward transmission to Parliament. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have made a significant leap towards our goal. We are very, very, very early in the long journey that the President has described. The road may be long, but we are ready, able to walk it. We hope to walk this road with all of your support. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank those who have helped us to get to this far. The program was framed, developed, tested, written up, and illustrated by a dedicated, talented, youthful workforce and professional team between January and May 2025. Their ages range from 24 to 69 years old. I'm not the 69-year-old, by the way. I am personally grateful to every member of the Secretariat for your faith in Ghana, your long nights, your imagination, your competence, and your rigor. I could not have asked for a better team. However, ladies and gentlemen, the Secretariat is the first to admit that we stand on the shoulders of others. We must acknowledge, Your Excellency, the leadership of President Mahama, whose vision for a productive, prosperous, integrated, innovative, and equitable society has driven the development of the program. The vision, however, did not take shape in isolation. Much of the initial analysis was done by the NDC's 2024 Manifesto Committee, chaired by Comrade Danso Boafo, who is currently the Cabinet Secretary. Special tribute is due to the members of the 24-hour Economic Task Force team and the Jobs and Employment Subcommittee of the Manifesto Committee. Time will not allow me to mention each of you by name, but I believe that your names are being scrolled as I speak on the screens. And thank you for your remarkable effort and dedication, and your contributions are deeply appreciated. A detailed analysis of the challenges entrepreneurs, especially exporters, face was provided by individual intrepid entrepreneurs, both large and small, who know the system intimately. These producers and their associations are AGI, Association of Ghana Industries, FAGE, Federation of Ghanaian Exporters, GUTA, Ghana Union of Traders, GAU, PFAG, Ghana National Association of Cattle Farmers, the UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce, and others also highlighted the opportunity cost of our broken system. They propose well-thought-out solutions, some of which we have included in the program. We are grateful to the development financial institutions, private foundations, development banks, and international agencies, especially Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, Development Bank of Ghana, Ghana Exim Bank, UNDP, and the African Development Bank for their invaluable support in shaping both the financing and strategic architecture of the 24-hour economic program. Without the guidance of Dr. Ato Forson, Dr. Johnson Asiama, and the expert teams at the Ministry of Finance, the Bank of Ghana, the Ghana Statistical Service, and the Ghana Revenue Authority, much of this program would not have been possible. I would also like to thank my colleagues in the government, the Office of the President. The Office of the President has led the program steadily and consistently and unfailingly. The Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, has continuously provided guidance and support. The Senior Presidential Advisor on Governmental Affairs, Valerie Sawyer, has been endlessly kind, helpful, and wise. The Cabinet Secretary, Professor Danso Boafo, has on many occasions guided us safely and smoothly through turbulent waters, as well as saved us when we needed help in presenting matters to the Cabinet. And of course, Dr. Callistus Mahama, the Secretary to the President, has always found space for us in His Excellency's incredibly busy schedule, in addition to graciously reviewing documents meant for public distribution. Our dear friend, former Attorney General Marietta Brew, now the President's legal advisor, has offered very valuable legal insights. Seth Tekpe has always been a clear voice on economic management, and he's always been a good comrade. And without Mausi Jirasa, our team would never have figured out how to navigate the complexities of Jubilee House. I must recognize the profound support of the Cabinet. 24 Hours is a truly multi-sectoral program that touches every ministerial sector of government. Progress would not be possible without the active support of ministers. However, in terms of the productive industries that the program seeks to transform, we must single out the Ministers for Trade and Industry and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ufsu Ajari, Madam, Eric Opoku, Minister of Agriculture, Madam Emilia Arthur, Minister of Fisheries, Madam Jifa Ablagomashi, Minister of Culture, Theatre, Arts and Tourism. We really do thank you for your patience and your willingness to make your institutional capacity available to drive our different sub-programs. Lastly, and not the least, I commend the leadership of our security services. With facilitation from the National Security Council and National Security Advisor, we've held constructive engagement with the armed forces, the police, immigration, prisons, fire service, customs, cybersecurity agency, and the National Signals Bureau. These institutions have demonstrated a clear understanding of the strategic implications of the 24-hour plus program and are already implementing measures to safeguard our national stability as the transformation unfolds. Indeed, I believe that ports, police, well, they've always been somehow 24-hour. Ports, police, and GRA are now on a 24-hour footing to complement the efforts of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other ministries, Ministry of Local Government, and so on. So thank you all very much. We salute all of you, your commitment. We at the Secretariat are confident that we will continue to receive constructive criticism and suggestions for further improvement. Criticism is always welcome. We see the 24-hour program as a living program, rooted in science and firm social democratic principles, but flexible enough to respond tactically to a changing environment. We will learn many lessons along the way and make numerous adjustments. The bow that doesn't bend always breaks. This is the only way the program can transform our society in the short, medium, and the long term. Ladies and gentlemen, the task that Ghana has undertaken and that our Secretariat is supporting is a challenging one. However, the social and political costs of inaction are terrifying. I'll repeat that. However, the social and political costs of inaction are terrifying. This is a sensible program with substantial upsides. The people of Ghana are very capable, very resilient, and today they are inspiringly led by Your Excellency. We can say without a doubt that our President is a true champion of responsible entrepreneurship in national transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, we as a country, we as a people have what it takes, and with your support, we will succeed. Thank you, sir.
And then there was Mr. Guzi Tanu, who is the chair of the 24-hour policy secretariat, giving us the modalities of that policy. Well, as and when, we'll bring you more details of that policy. Right about now, that's it from us at here on Joy News Desk. We'll be back tomorrow with more.